They don't need chains to bind you. They don't need cages to trap you. And they don't even need love to keep you by their side. The truth is far more dangerous. The strongest form of control doesn't feel like control at all. It feels like desire. It feels like longing. It feels like you're the one choosing, when, in reality, the choice was never yours. Have you ever wondered if your decisions are truly your own? Friedrich Nietzsche warned us of this over a century ago. He saw that humanity wasn't ruled by reason or honesty, but by something deeper, something darker, the seduction of craving. It's a tactic that makes you believe you're free, while every movement of your heart, every decision you make, is quietly guided by someone else. And here's the terrifying part. This isn't rare. It's not reserved for tyrants or geniuses. It's happening to you, right now, in your relationships, in your career, in your habits, in the way you spend your time. This is the hidden game of power, and you've been playing blind. Nietzsche once wrote, "People don't want the truth. They want illusions, and illusions, they are the stage on which seduction performs its greatest trick, making you feel chosen, while all along you are the one being used." Most people think seduction is about flattery, beauty, or charm. They imagine it's a candlelit dinner, a whisper in the ear, a magnetic glance. But Nietzsche saw something darker. The most dangerous seducer isn't the one who showers you with attention. It's the one who withholds it. The one who gives you just enough to feel seen, then pulls away, leaving you desperate for more. That desperation, it becomes the leash, an invisible rope pulling you back again and again, even when logic screams at you to run. And here's the cruelest part. You won't recognize it while it's happening. You'll call it chemistry. You'll call it fate. You'll call it love. But deep down, what you're actually feeling is dependency. A craving engineered by someone who knows exactly how to push the right buttons in your nervous system. Think back to a time when you thought you were making a choice, only to realize later you weren't choosing at all. That person you couldn't stop texting, even when they ignored you. That company you kept buying from, even after swearing you were done. That belief system you defended, even as doubt crept in. Why did you stay? Why did you give more of yourself than you should have? Because the seducer knew the secret Nietzsche warned us about. If you can make someone feel they are freely choosing their chains, you'll never need to force them. That's the darkest seduction. The leash that feels like love. The trap that feels like loyalty. The manipulation that feels like devotion. Desire is a drug, and the clever seducer knows how to dose it. They don't flood you with attention, because that would make you comfortable. Instead, they create uncertainty. They make you question yourself. They disappear just long enough to make you ache. Then when they return, they give you a taste of the reward, affection, approval, validation, and your body remembers the high. Suddenly you're not addicted to them. You're addicted to the cycle. This is why people stay in relationships that destroy them. Why consumers keep buying products they don't need. Why followers worship leaders who exploit them. It's not logic. It's not reason. It's your nervous system, hooked on the rhythm of scarcity and reward. Psychologists today call it intermittent reinforcement. Nietzsche didn't have that language, but he saw the truth. Whoever controls the tension between pleasure and absence, between reward and denial, holds absolute power over the human will. If you think this is just about romance, you're already falling for the illusion. Because this tactic has been the heartbeat of power for centuries. Religions promise paradise, but only after the terror of eternal damnation. Governments promise safety, but only by keeping citizens in fear. Corporations promise freedom and happiness, but only if you keep consuming. It's always the same structure. Offer just enough to awaken desire, withhold enough to deepen the craving, and make people believe that without you, they'll collapse. Nietzsche saw this clearly. He understood that societies aren't held together by truth, but by illusions. Illusions designed to keep people hungry enough to obey. Now think about your own life. That person who gave you a taste of love, then withdrew until you begged. That friend who praised you in public, but left you second-guessing in private. That workplace that called you family, then reminded you how replaceable you were. None of this is random. It's the same formula, the same seduction Nietzsche warned us of. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Because here is his most brutal truth. The strongest seduction isn't in what is given. it's in what is withheld. This tactic works for one reason. Human beings crave meaning. We want to feel wanted. We want to feel chosen. We want to believe we are worth something. The seducer hijacks this instinct. They dangle worth like a prize, then pull it away to keep you running. They control your hunger. And when they control your hunger, they control you. Here's the bitter truth. Nietzsche wanted us to face. If you don't see the game, you will always be a piece on someone else's board. You'll think you're loving when you're enslaved. You'll think you're loyal when you're just useful. You'll think you're free when you're already trapped. Most people live their entire lives inside this illusion. They call their chains destiny. They defend their captors as soulmates. They worship their manipulators as saviors. But the moment you see it, the moment you strip away the mask, everything changes. You begin to understand that the darkest seduction isn't about attraction. It's about dependence. It's about making you believe you can't live without them, when in fact, they can't hold power without you. And that's just the beginning. Because Nietzsche's warning doesn't end here. There is a second layer, a deeper tactic, one that doesn't just manipulate what you want. It rewrites who you are. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Philosphere, where we uncover the truths they'd rather keep hidden. And then you start whispering, I am nothing without them. That's when the real damage begins. Nietzsche observed something most people are too afraid to admit. Human beings are always searching for mirrors. We don't just want to be loved, we want to be reflected. We want someone to confirm who we believe we are, or who we hope to become. And the seducer knows this. They study your wounds, your insecurities, your secret hunger for recognition. And then they do something terrifyingly simple. They mirror back the version of yourself you most want to see. That's why the most dangerous manipulator often feels like a soulmate. They don't force you. They reflect you. They say the words you've always longed to hear. They play the role you've been waiting for since childhood. And before you know it, you've stopped asking whether it's real. You just keep feeding on the reflection. Nietzsche called this the illusion of becoming. When someone convinces you that only through them will you discover your true self. But here's the dark twist. That reflection, it's a mask, and once you mistake it for reality, you give them the power to define you. When seduction rewrites identity, it kills freedom in silence. Think about it. That person who convinces you that, without them you're unworthy. That boss who makes you believe your value is tied to their approval. That ideology that promises you purpose, but only if you obey. At first it feels like you're being lifted up, but over time you begin to shrink. You sacrifice more of yourself to keep the reflection alive. You let go of your voice, your boundaries, your doubts, until one day you wake up and realize you don't know who you are anymore. Your identity has been rewritten by someone else's story. Nietzsche warned us of this trap again and again. He wrote, whoever despises himself still respects himself as one who despises. Even in self-hatred, there remains a fragile thread of selfhood. But the darkest seduction, it severs even that. It doesn't leave you despising yourself. It leaves you forgetting yourself. And what could be more terrifying than losing the very sense of who you are? But it gets even darker, because once someone rewrites your identity, they don't stop there. They begin to rewrite your memory. Think about that toxic relationship, the one where you only remember the rare good moments, while excusing the constant pain. Think about the manipulative leader, who tells the same story so many times, that you begin to doubt your own version of events. Think about the times you swore you'd walk away, but later convinced yourself, it wasn't that bad. This isn't weakness, it's seduction, working at its highest level. By controlling which moments you cling to, the seducer controls your past. And when someone controls your past, they also control your present and your future. Nietzsche understood, memory is not fixed. It is elastic, fragile, vulnerable to suggestion. He saw how easily it can be bent to serve the stories others want us to believe. And the seducer, the manipulator, the system that feeds off you, They know this too. This is why Nietzsche was so merciless in his attacks on institutions of power, because he saw that seduction wasn't just personal, it was political, it was spiritual. Religions made people believe their very worth was tied to obedience, that identity itself was sinful, broken, in need of redemption from someone else, that without the church, without the savior, without the dogma, you were nothing. Governments did the same. They used nationalism to convince individuals that their value came from serving the nation, from dissolving their identity into the crowd. And in love, the same game repeats. The partner who makes you believe you are incomplete, you without them. The one who convinces you that leaving means losing yourself. At this level, seduction is no longer about charm. It's about dependence, and dependence is the graveyard of identity. Here's the question. Nietzsche wanted us to face how much of who you are is really you, and how much is what someone else seduced you into becoming. Look closely. Do you believe you're unworthy because someone treated you that way? Do you believe you're valuable only when you're useful to someone else? Do you chase validation because someone once made you doubt your right to exist without it? If so, your identity has already been rewritten. You've already been seduced into forgetting yourself. And that's the real tragedy Nietzsche saw in humanity. Not that people are weak, not that they are emotional, but that they are so quick to abandon their own truth for a reflection someone else offers them. The reason most never break free from this trap is painfully simple. It feels good. It feels good to be mirrored. It feels good to be chosen. It feels good to believe someone else holds the key to your worth. And so people cling to the very chains that bind them. They defend the very people who are draining them. They sacrifice their freedom at the altar of comfort. Nietzsche called this the slave morality, the mindset of those who trade their true strength for the illusion of belonging. He didn't hate people for this. He hated what it did to them. He saw how it crushed the human spirit. So where does that leave you? Because now the mirror is in front of you. You can keep chasing the reflections others give you, the approval, the validation, the temporary highs, or you can turn inward. You can begin the harder path, reclaiming your own reflection, defining your worth by your own standards, refusing to be rewritten by anyone's seduction, no matter how sweet it feels in the moment. This is the choice Nietzsche believed only the strongest could make. To walk away from the easy seduction of dependence and face the terrifying, but liberating, reality of self-ownership. But we're not finished yet, because there is still one layer deeper, a tactic beyond desire, beyond identity, beyond dependence, a tactic Nietzsche described as the most corrupting force of all, the one that doesn't just seduce your feelings or rewrite your self-image, but twists morality itself into a weapon against you. And once you see that layer, you'll understand why Nietzsche believed most people aren't living free lives at all, but scripted ones, bound by values they never chose. If you thought seduction was dark before, wait until you see how morality can become the cruelest seduction of all. If this exploration resonates with you, like, share and subscribe to Philosphere, the place where philosophy meets truth, and truth sets you free. Because once someone convinces you that their rules are sacred, that their values are universal, that their morality is the truth, they no longer need to seduce you with desire or identity. You will chain yourself in the name of virtue. This is the darkest seduction of all. From the moment you were a child, you were told what is good and what is evil. Be kind, be loyal, be obedient, be honest. But Nietzsche saw through the illusion. He recognized that morality is not universal. It is designed. It is written by the powerful to serve the powerful. It is a script handed to you, so you will play your part without question. That's why he said morality is the herd instinct in the individual. It doesn't grow from your soul. It's injected into you. It seduces you into believing you're righteous, while ensuring you never threaten the order above you. Now think about how irresistible this seduction is. When you're told you're good, you feel safe, you feel chosen, you feel superior. But the cost is hidden. Being good often means silencing your instincts.
It means swallowing your rage when someone crosses you. It means staying quiet in the face of injustice, because rocking the boat would make you bad. It means being loyal to those who have never been loyal to you. And so morality becomes the softest, most velvet chain of all. It doesn't feel like oppression. It feels like virtue. This is why Nietzsche despised what he called slave morality. A morality that teaches you to love weakness, to celebrate obedience, to worship suffering. A morality that seduces you into believing your chains are your crowns. Look at how power uses morality. History repeats the same tactic. Nations told young men it was good to march into wars that only benefited rulers. Religions told the poor it was good to stay meek, because paradise would reward them later. Corporations tell workers it's good to sacrifice their lives for the company's growth. Always the same game. Rebrand obedience as virtue. Rebrand suffering as holiness. Rebrand suffering as holiness. Rebrand slavery as loyalty. Nietzsche's rage came from seeing this. Not just that people were controlled, but that they were seduced into sacrificing their power willingly. Not because they were forced, but because they believed they were being righteous. And here's where this tactic becomes lethal. Because nothing seduces the human spirit more than the idea of noble sacrifice. You'll give up your freedom if you believe it makes you a good partner. You'll give up your ambition if you believe it makes you a good child. You'll give up your truth if you believe it makes you a good citizen. And all the while those who wrote the script of good, feeding off your sacrifice. This is why Nietzsche's words remain dangerous, even today, because he dared to say morality is it is strategy, it is seduction, disguised as eternal law. And yet most people will never see it. They will live and die without ever questioning the morality base. They will live and die without ever questioning the morality, because it feels sacred, it feels untouchable, it feels terrifying to imagine. It feels terrifying to imagine that the rules you built your life around might be lies designed to control you, and that's exactly why it works. Morality seduces, not with beauty, not with scarcity, but with fear. Fear of being bad, fear of exile, fear of hell. And so people cling to the rules, not because they are true, but because breaking them feels humble. You must step outside the morals handed down by priests, rulers, lovers, and carve new ones from your own strength. He called this the path of the Übermensch, the one who is not seduced by the morals. But here's the catch. This path is not easy. It is lonely. It requires breaking the spell of seduction, again and again, until you are strong enough to live without borrowed values. And most will never do it. They will keep calling obedience virtue. They will keep mistaking weakness for kindness. They will keep calling seduction love.
At the edge of Nietzsche's abyss, you've seen how seduction works. First, it manipulates your desire. Then it rewrites your identity. And finally, it twists morality itself into a leash around your soul. This is the full scope of the darkest seduction tactic ever used on humanity. And now that you've seen it, you can never unsee it. Every promise will look different. Every system will feel different. Every smile, every vow, every good you were told will carry the weight of suspicion. Because Nietzsche wanted you to realize the greatest danger is not being lied to by others. It's living inside the lies you never question. So now, the choice is yours. The question isn't whether seduction surrounds you, it always has. The question is, will you keep being its victim, or will you use Nietzsche's warning to break the spell? Because the truth is this, the darker seduction isn't about them, it's about you, about whether you'll keep trading your freedom for the comfort of illusions, or whether you'll take the terrifying step into self-mastery. And if you do, the world will never look the same again. If this journey into the abyss stirred something inside you, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Philosphere. Because the world doesn't need more followers, it needs more awakenings.